Hello, it is Enchanter Shane, and I'm here to share. I'm here. Hey, Dominic, I'm so glad you're here. Um, yeah, I love it. I love when the film and the theater people show up. Okay, so it is Sunday. It is a couple of days after the show. Welcome. Yay, Lysandra, I'm glad you're here. I'm just going to kick it off. Hey, Robert, Brett, welcome everybody. So it's a couple days after after the viewing. Hey, Bernardo, and presentation of my show, Fuck Your Fears. And hey, Karen. And I wanted to come on. I'm here. I don't want to come on. I'm here to share and answer questions and just be in gratitude and kind of give my social media world and friends. Yes, all the enchantresses are gathering and all the beautiful supportive kings and beautiful people are here. I'm going to share some takeaways, some feedback I got, and answer any questions that you have. If anybody has any questions. I feel like everyone knew that my show was Friday night. If you didn't, I did a solo show called Fuck Your Fears Live, a journey towards personal liberation. And it was the first time I ever performed a solo show in this way. And the format was it was a show, but it was also a work in progress. Hello, Zahuva. And the work in progress part means it's still being workshopped. It's not final. It's not finished. And that alone is a really vulnerable place to share art from. And this piece this evening was the most vulnerable I've ever been in my whole life. And it was really interesting. I mean, the part that I'm interested in most, that everyone who knows me pretty much knows, like, is the inner workings of, like, what did I feel like before the show? What did I feel like during it? What did I feel like afterwards? What do I feel like the next day? What do I feel like today? And I want to start just by sharing, and also ask your questions if you have questions, because it's really important to me to be in connection. Like, it's fun for me to come on and do videos, but if you have questions, it's even better. It's even more fun. So this show was a culmination. Somebody asked me, how long have I been working on it? Technically, I had 9 rehearsals with my gorgeous and amazing and talented and patient and amazing director doula, because this was a birthing process, Elisa Blinn. And the gratitude comes from it goes towards friends. My friend Anita, who asked me, when's your show? When's your show? For, a couple of years. And then I went to go see a show called Never Sleep Alone. And I was watching the show in person, and actually I put an arrow on the picture of that stage and I wrote me. And then the next day I looked up this theater, which I performed at a whole bunch of times, called the Producers Club. I chose a date and then I put it on hold. I created an Eventbrite. People were buying tickets. And then a month or 2 later, I had called the theater to reserve the space. There was like a 45-person theater. I was like, great, I'll take that. I'll call back on Monday to reserve the space. And then when I called back that Monday to reserve the space, they're like, sorry, we only have the Grand, which had 58 seats. And I was like, oh, fuck, how am I going to fill that? La-di-da-di-da-di-da-da-da. Fast forward, it was sold out. And not only was it sold out, but there were 4 or 5 gracious people who agreed to come and sit on the floor and on the stairs. And so the biggest piece, hey everyone, is that the biggest piece for me was like, is it possible to let in all this support? Like 80 people in the room, you know, including my amazing helpers who came to videotape and second cameraman and lighting and director. And that part was really, I think it was a little bit a sprinkle of overwhelming plus disbelief plus ownership. And I was like, oh my God, you know, all these people came to support the work or support me or unknown, or their spouse brought them. And so there were a lot of people that came that maybe didn't know theater or didn't like theater or was just like, oh, I'm coming to this thing. And because everything, and I think Kara, you said it, it was a really raw, vulnerable, my heart. It was a lot of truth that I haven't spoken out loud. It was 5 different characters and all of their inner life. And so inner life can be uncomfortable and palpable. I think you said the word. So the Producers Club was, every theater is different pricing, you know, depending on the size, but it was $575 and then, you know, rehearsal time and stuff. So, you know, anybody can rent a theater. You can go rent a theater. And so it changed iterations of what the show was going to be so many times. And what my director did, what Elisa did was people asked me like, did you come with like raw work? I was like, no, I came with nothing. I came with my heart and intention and a rented fucking theater. And as a performer, I know there's a bunch of, if you're a performer, put up a thumbs up. I'd love to know who my artists and performers are. You know, if that's your bag, if that's your game, you know that you take your sensitivity, you take your heart, you put it on the stage, and you hope people like it. So because I do all this social media and I make myself very available in the world, people see me, they find me. And I think that a lot of people didn't know what the show was going to be about. I didn't know what the show was going to be about till about a month or 2 months, probably a month and a half before the show. And so much goes into it, like not just like planning, and it's not all hunky-dory. Like I got really confronted with a lot of stuff. You know, it's really easy for me to show up here live and talk shit and be amazing and charming and smart and funny, and then take it to the theater and go deeper, take off the masks, go into the darkness of each of these 5 characters who, and someone asked me this question earlier, and I love what she asked. She said, why these 5 characters? Hey, Michael. Thank you. Thank you for putting up your thumbs up if you're an artist or a creative. And I said, these 5 people, these 5 characters have had a major impression on my life, and they're loud in my head, very loud. And so to give them a voice, to give them a space to share what their struggles are, gave me, Shane, so much freedom, because my fear, because it's fuck your fears, and each of the characters ended in a monologue of fear. My fear is like, when's enough? You know, what's next for me? What's in the future for me? So just going into each of these characters' fears and indulging them. And also indulging what is it like to be these people in their struggles. What is it like to actually step into, to embody an 80-something-year-old woman and a 15-year-old kid in prison? Like, what is that like to embody? And that is what the challenge that I took on. And that is so much fun in the most darkest and sadistic of ways. And so I'm not sure if he's here right now, but Danny, like I trained in improv acting. And the improv that I trained in, hey, Andrew, thank you for your comment earlier. The improv that I trained in had nothing to do with yes and. The improv that I trained in was about saying no. And it was about drama and not getting what you want and feeling feelings that are otherwise really uncomfortable and most of the time avoided. And this show was my debut as a playwright, as a writer. And so Elisa took me through these practices and these methods of writing the inner life of each of these characters, and then attempting and putting energy towards memorizing it. And that is not something that is not only not easy for me, but it triggered all this stuff from when I went to school, and I could never pass a test because I couldn't memorize, I couldn't study. And so all these things came up of, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, let me just be Shane. Let me just be my charming self. I don't want to memorize, and sort of having these tantrums of real confronting stuff. And I've done a bunch of movies with people, with amazing, talented people like Dominic Savelli. I don't know if you're still here, but people who did a lot of horror movies and independent films. And I've done a lot of improv theater with people on stage. I've done burlesque. I've been a stripper. I've done open mic. And actually, I've done 2 pieces where I have done monologues of other people's writings. And this was really extremely hard. And what the lesson that I remembered, one of the biggest lessons that started me to get more present to the process, and I want to give it to all of you because it's so powerful. Hey, Monica, was that take the focus off yourself, take the focus off myself, and make it about the character. Make it about the energy, make it about the audience. And once I did that, and I fully surrendered to the sadness, to the fear, to the anger of these characters, then I was able to breathe again, you know? But if I was trying to be good, and if I was trying to be like great on stage, I started to like pretend, or some like inauthentic stuff started to come up. And you know, I hate inauthenticity, especially if it's like the way somebody lives, doesn't feel good. So yeah, all of that. And then yesterday, so the show was Friday night, and then there was a talk back, which means everybody comes back to Sexy Spirits, to this location. And we had a bunch of food from Hummus and Pita and Company, which was amazing. I'm going to shout them out. And then we sat in a big circle because I love a circle. And I had questions answered, and I got some feedback, and it was really interesting just to hear how the work impacted other people. Some people shared that they cried from some of the characters, and I cried a lot, you know, before the show with these characters, like feeling other people's pain, stepping into someone else's body, into their life, and feeling their pain. It's some fucking hard shit. So I'd love to answer any questions. And if you were at the show, I'd love to, anything you want to say. It could be constructive criticism. It could be love and appreciation, a favorite frame, anything. If you're watching on the replay, that would be amazing. And it's, you know, I was super vulnerable, like what I wore, a lot of it, like the fact that I could be a young vixen and then an 80-year-old grandmother, same body, but looking very different. I think that represents how we are as humans. Like, it's the same me, right? And I'm showing up with different people in different places, and how that reads is like life, theater and life. You know, art imitates life, life imitates art, and theater is a science, because I brought impossible truths where I have nowhere else to speak this stuff. And I brought it to the stage. And to me, that's how, yes. Well, family constellation is acting. It's following the impulse. It's letting energy in from another being. So it's part psychodrama. I mean, it's all the same, you know, it's the same circus, different arena, but it's the role playing. It's also like BDSM or DS play. Like, all of it is about embodying a role. And we do it in life. You know, if you're if you're a parent, you show up in your sexual life in one way. You show up as a parent. You show up in your job. You show up as a musician. You know, we have all these different hats. And imagine having consciousness around them where you're like, oh, I'm stepping into my grief as this character. And then your body doesn't know the difference. You just take yourself on that ride. And it's the most efficient, most fun way to heal. And it doesn't feel good in the process, but then afterwards it's like, holy shit, I got to try on someone else's lifestyle. And then there's a bit more freedom in my own brain, in my own heart. Hey, Goddess Karen, welcome. And so the celebration is not just during the show, not just that it was sold out and that there were almost 80 people in a room that held 68, but it was Saturday when I woke up in the morning and I was like, not hard on myself. And I was like, wow, I did a thing. I did a thing. And I completed it to fruition. And people showed up, and how many things get started and never completed. So this was something that beyond like the acting, beyond the stage, the performance, the da-da-da-da, it was like, how is Shane, how am I the next day in my own inner life? And my old stories started to come in, like, you sucked, you could have done this better, da-da-da, but they didn't stick. It's like it was such a big, massive action that after it was finished, those old voices, they weren't true anymore. And my inner child, I'll talk about the inner child for a moment, like the joyful little girl that doesn't know any better and just wants to be joyful. She was quiet. There was no voices of like, you know, whatever. And my inner teenager, who is so rowdy, and she can always be like, go eat pizza all day long, you lazy piece of shit. Like, she's really nasty because she had a character. She was seen in the show. She was quiet. She had nothing to say. I ate healthy yesterday. I didn't talk a lot. My friends came over. I slept in. Actually, I want to share this piece. Yeah, at all. And yeah, usually when I wake up in the morning, like there's voices of like a worry steps in, and there was no worry. I spoke to my director and we said, you know what? We don't really feel like checking in about the show. We did some favorite frames and then carried on. And then the rest of my day, I had some coffee with a neighbor and then I didn't speak. I just held my mouth closed and I watched some Def Jam comedy. I ate some pita and hummus. What else did I do? I wrote a bunch. I danced. I did some yoga in my house. I pulled some cards. Yay, Gila. I drank a bunch of water. I ate some fruit. And then I had a comfy sweatshirt on. It's so important. I closed both of my icons. I deleted them, Instagram and Facebook, off of my phone. And I just laid around. The writing was really important. And then today, same thing. I woke up, it was super rainy. I was supposed to go to this beautiful meditation. I was like, I'm not leaving. And then I went to get a foot massage and the guy was so on point, so amazing. It was like a puja. And then I bought some healthy food for the week, pulled some more cards. My other neighbor came over. We had some tea. And I feel happy. I feel calm. I feel ready for whatever's next. I feel very seen, very heard. If you know anything about human design, I'm a projector and it's important for us to feel witnessed. And so I feel very witnessed. I'd love any questions. Okay, so let's see. Zahuba asks, when will the next iteration be? Good question. I'm not sure. You know, Elisa I was already like, you know, wanting to put a second date on the calendar. And she's like, Shane, let's just put our energy into this show. I was like, okay, okay, okay. And then I was like, well, what if we get a grant? You know, how can we get this paid for? And she said, Shane, let's just do this show. She kept saying that. And that's very new for me because I'm always like, what's next? What's next? And if 5 people, you know, there was a wait list. Thank you for joining up on the wait list. And I was like, we should get these people to have a date. And she's like, Shane, let's focus on this show. And I was like, okay. So yeah, I feel really relaxed. And so that was really great because that means today I didn't have a lot to work on. Tonight I'm doing something called Liberation Laboratory in the Awkward Enchanted Coven. That's just for women. And it feels like it's just going to come out of me. But that's it. Other than that, I feel totally clear and clean, and I have some cool things happening this week. But the next iteration is going to be, it's going to be maybe a little different, maybe a little bit the same characters. I'm really committed to them. Yeah, so thanks for asking, Sahuva. Okay, let's see. Gila says, will your show be available for me to watch on any social media or YouTube, or is there a video for sale? Thank you for asking, Gila. So no video. I mean, there is, I had 2 cameramen, 2 glorious, amazing friends, 2 filmmakers, and there'll be clips for promos, but theater is a tricky one it gets lost in translation when you watch it in movies. So it's not going to be available in its entirety. You'll have to come to the show. And this is something I want to keep on working on so that it keeps on growing because it's very relevant in terms of personal freedom and liberation. It taps into subjects like death and getting old. It taps into parenting, autism, youth incarceration, power dynamics, sex workers, like all of it. And so these are subjects that really could go deeper and deeper and deeper. So each show will get deeper and deeper. And the biggest fear fucker for me is to memorize my own writing. Somebody asked me, some brilliant man asked me, the first question was, what part of this was the biggest fear for me? And, you know, the costumes are pretty scantily clad, some of them. That's not a fear. I don't give a shit about that. The memorizing the script was the biggest challenge for me because, like I said earlier, that's not my bag. I'm not a trained actor in terms of like Strasberg or any famous actor. So that was it brought up a lot of stuff for me. Great. Anybody have any more questions? Cool. Gila says, how can I see it? Well, there'll be clips. I haven't seen it yet. So let's see. I'm going to watch it first. It's about an hour. It went a little 15 minutes over than it was supposed to. It's an hour and a half. Flowers. That's so beautiful. So I'll come to your show. Yes, I'd love to like fly you in for the next one. That's like my dream, is for everybody who really wants to see it to see it. I felt so like it was such a bittersweet thing to have it be sold out so people couldn't come. I was like, oh, and it was sold out. So I was joyful, but I was like, damn, there's certain people that I wanted to come that couldn't come. So, beautiful. Hey, Kim, I got your message. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So the part about theater acting, Gila, is a teleprompter, is in order to embody, to really be the character, I don't want to be reading. It should just come out. And the truth is, most solo shows are worked on for a very long time before they're put up. This was a rendition of it. So it wasn't like the final copy, but sorry, I had to open a door. So it's a work in progress. So sharing it felt really important as part of the process. It's so funny, Lysandra. It's like people after the show were saying, how do you feel? You know, how do you feel right now? And I was like, I don't fucking know. I kind of feel like I felt like, and I feel like I was like in an unknown. I was like, huh. And then a friend came up to me and she's an artist and she's like, well, you just completely put it all out there. So, and then I realized like, oh, I must be in like protection mode a little bit where I'm like, holy fucking shit. It's just time to just be in the unknown. Great. Thank you, Kim. I'm so glad you came. Cool. Cool. I'm excited. So, Lissandra, it's like, it's weird. It's like not an, I'm excited, yes. I also feel very tender, and it's like a tender power. It's like, I feel really powerful that I did this, but I also feel like I have to be nice to myself and really slow and easy. And I took a beautiful shower and bath and blew my hair out, and that feels really good. Like, just, I don't know why that feels really good, but it does. So I feel proud. No, Gila, they did not. I did not ask them this round. It was really intense for me to do a couple of these characters, and having my family there would not have been helpful in this round. So I let my dad know, like, I didn't just not invite you. I just was like, I have to do what's right for me at this moment. Hey, Heather Feather. Oh my goodness. And then there was, okay, then I want to share this. So it's interesting, Zahuba. I'm not in shock at all. I feel like this is just like the next thing. Of course, this is what's happening. So it's really an unknown. It was a cherry on top for me to get on the stage. Everything else was the work beforehand. That was the hard stuff. Getting on stage is always easy for me. I was on book for everything. Like, the script was on the stage with me. It was hidden in books, in greeting cards. Like, there was no trying to fake memorizing it. So I was set up for success in that way. And I didn't, because in the beginning I tried to be like, I'm going to pretend I have it and just hide the script. But no. It just, my director was like, no, this is a first viewing of a work. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so not just opening these emotions, it's like opening in them and sharing them was a big deal. And then there were so many beautiful surprises. Like, I want to point to Heather Feather for a minute, who just signed on. So Heather and I went to junior high school together, like Canarsie fucking back in the day, 1989. And I saw her name come up as a ticket. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. Get to the show. She's like coming over to say hello, and she doesn't even remember me. Well, I don't know if you didn't remember me or it was just like, why would I know this girl? 3 other women told her to just come. And I'm like, hey, we went to Build-A-Seat, da da da. And we just had this fucking moment. So beyond the show itself, the audience, there were so many interwoven circles of people that had never met through me, but were there for this show and that had dated someone's friend 10 years ago. Heather, I hadn't seen since I was 15. There was so much. My whole fucking Rockaway block showed up to be supportive, to entertain, to all of it. So it was just like, it was really incredible. And so it was really hard for me, Gila. That's a great question. How did I feel right before I walked on the stage? It's funny because I was relaxed then too. And I was trying to be nervous because that's usually, I wouldn't say nervous. I would say I was feeling like, oh, I should have more energy. So I was like looking for that, but I just felt like I felt ready. You know, when you put the time, the energy, the money in, and you show up. I mean, I was doing 6-hour rehearsals, like 8-hour rehearsals, 3 hours in the space for an hour, and then I would go to my director's house. Like, we worked. So this wasn't like Shane's winging it. It was like I put in the time and the money and the energy. I put my fucks into it, and then I showed up. And so it felt like, oh, relaxed. Oh, that's so fun. That is so fun. So the hard part was like peeking and seeing the audience and being like, oh my God, I love every person here. And not only that, but there were a lot of people that I'd never met in person, but I know from Facebook world. And I found it so adorable that some people were like introducing themselves to me afterwards. I'm like, I fucking know who you are. You know, like I know who everybody is in the audience, and I can tell everybody in the audience what worked about them. And it was powerful. Oh, thank you, Gila. Yes, it is amazing. And Lysandra sent a message right before I went on stage. And so I have friends in Hawaii that were like, yo, I'm with you. And so I literally felt, I mean, the amount of support that I felt of committed, supportive people was so massive. Holy fucking shit. Okay, cool. Yes, this is big. Why do I felt so normal and relaxed? It's true. And also like my coaching business, for some reason, all of my clients that I usually have sporadically in the daytime in the week, like I didn't have any. I have a Fuck Your Fears course starting next Tuesday. So that's already happening. And then, so I had the universe cleared out all this space for me to go to this city every day and to be in rehearsal. It's kind of unheard of for me to be like in the city every day. And what I feel most passionate about is personal liberation. And, you know, I'm going to talk about this tonight in the Liberation Laboratory, but action versus activity. And activity is just like busy work, research, blah, 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 blah. And action is like intention, will, and showing the fuck up. And that's what I feel like I did, and that's what everybody did. May I ask, total amount of people was 74 audience people. And then 6 crew, like 3 video people, director, sound, and 2 volunteers, 74. So 81 people in a room. It's a lot. And it's people that I really care about. And what's really interesting was when I was on stage, you know, you can't really see everybody's face, but I did see people, and they were like their faces were like, and so that was really hard to receive and be like, you know, just feeling the energy of what's happening in the room. And there were a lot of costume changes. And so like there was a lot of mechanical stuff. And so just watching, you know, being in my body, being present to the stage, being present to each character. And then in a costume change, like having moments of like traveling into my head, like, what's everybody think? And then being like, no, come back into. So yeah, it was a lot of inner workings. And so a lot of it, hey Dad, will be, we're just going to keep refining it. Yeah. And also, you know, if anybody's interested in working on their solo show, I think everybody has a solo show in them. Elisa is an amazing director. She's like a doula of directing, because it's not easy, like giving birth. Not that I would know, but giving birth is not easy. It's not always fun. There's pain, there's like struggle, and then there's like, bing, here it is. So just like figuring all of that out feels really powerful, and just being able to take care of myself the last 2 days and chilling the fuck out and taking my time and doing the wrap-up show. I don't have that many pictures, which is so annoying, but it is what it is. Hey, Vinny. So yeah, I'd love any more questions or anything about the show or anything in general about the show. Let's keep it focused. There's poop. What does that mean? Hey, Evelyn. Yeah, so I'd love to answer any questions. And if you're watching on the replay, of course, if you ask questions, I'll get back to it later. Oh yeah, action versus activity. I hope you can show up tonight. It's going to be a good one. So that's it, folks. Yay. If you are a woman and you're looking for confidence and visibility and putting something out in the world, Fuck Your Fears starts next week. Hit me up. Let me know if you're interested in that. Oh, there's poop. Yes. Thank you. I didn't know that. I mean, I did, but I didn't. So thank you for sharing that. And then tonight is the Liberation Laboratory. Show up for that at 9 p.m. and stay tuned. Oh, I'd love that. Yes. There will be pics based on the video. I could take some stills from there, so there will be pictures like that. But I was really focused. I wasn't on my phone. I wasn't doing selfies. The one selfie I wish I would have taken was at the end when we were doing the Q&A. I wish I would have turned around and got the audience behind me, but whatever. Let it go. All right, everybody, have a magnificent rest of your night. Thank you so much for all your support, for all of your wishes and dreams and hopes. Thank you for sending me gifts before the show. That was so fun. I got so many fun gifts in the mail from my Amazon wish list. That was awesome. I updated it. It used to say birthday wish list, but now it just says wish list. So that was fun. And then there's also a link. Oh, okay. Oh, great. Thank you, Kim. Okay. Can you articulate the end of your show, how your experience brought you to Fuck Your Fear, how it came to fruition as a one-woman show? Yes. So having it been like my first time being a playwright, like I never gave myself that title. Like the costume changes and the physicality, not a problem. The end of the show, even entering into this sphere of like, I'm going to memorize this whole show and it's not going to be a one and done, because I'm really good at doing something and then being like, okay, I'm finished. I don't want to do it anymore. I want something new and extra and different. But I want to keep on working on that. So it's kind of like an inner fear of commitment, dedication, and a practice, and staying with it. Like I've done a lot of things that I don't stay with. Like I bought ice skates, roller skates. I took a surf lesson. I bought a harmonica, a ukulele, a guitar, drums. Like I try and I do a lot of things, but I don't stick with it. Acting, I've always stuck with. And this was like the next level of acting for me, which is acting by myself and memorizing my own work, and not just memorizing it, but really working hard to not say something extra, which I did a little bit, but to really stick to what I have, like commitment. That was so big. And it came to fruition as a one-woman show. It started out, I just rented a theater. I thought like, I'll do some burlesque, I'll do some comedy, and I'll sell my program, my Fuck Your Fears course. And then Elisa reached out and she's like, how's your show going? I'm like, I'm not really doing anything about it. And she's like, well, I'm a director. And so that was like a month and a half before. And so just actually doing something and surrendering, not being in charge, that was a real fear fucker for me, because I'd never done a one-woman show. I never even saw one. I saw one with Whoopi Goldberg on Broadway. But Whoopi Goldberg's a whole other ball game. And then I just kept showing up, and we tried some other characters. There was a strip club manager. He got thrown to the side. There was a drama teacher. She got thrown to the side. So just like whittling it down into these 5 golden threads of people, and then doing some writing was like a very new process for me. I've never discovered my acting through writing. It's always been just through improv. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for the awesomeness. Hey, Carmen. Okay, cool. If there's any more questions, please ask. I'm going to wrap this up, and then this is the most I've talked since Friday. So, feels like a lot. Yay, stay tuned. I'm going to put up the link if you're interested in staying in touch to find out when either the next show is going to be, or the next time I'm going to do stand-up or any kind of performing. You can fill this link out. It's going to be in the top. And I'll keep you posted. And that's it. That's all. Have an enchanted rest of your night. If you're not in the Awkward Enchanted Coven, join us over there. Stay tuned for more of everything, more and more and more and more. And again, if you have any other questions, let me know. All right, everybody. Mwah. You're awesome. Have a beautiful night. Thank you so much, Kim, my wild woman sister. Blessings on your evening. Bye.